close relationship between Canada and the United States generally transcends the politics of the leaders in power, but is U.S. President Obama botching relations with his country's biggest trading partner? Well, my next guest thinks so, and he says delaying the Keystone XL pipeline is just one example. Fen Hampson is the director of the Norman Paterson School of International Affairs at Carleton University, and he joins me now in studio. And we're talking about an article you co-authored with Derek Burney, whose name is known in international circles as well. He's a former Canadian ambassador to the U.S., worked with Mulroney as his chief of staff, briefly to the current prime minister. And the title of the article in Foreign Affairs, there it is, How Obama Lost Canada. You're not mincing words here.
Absolutely. This is a relationship that in every sense has gone south. Keystone Pipeline was simply the canary in the proverbial coal mine or oil sand mine, if you want to put it in those terms. And you know, we document in the article many cases where the White House has simply dropped the ball, as it did when there was pushback from Congress on softwood lumber, on Buy American provisions where there were certain guarantees that were given to Canada. If we look at the initiative now to build a new bridge,
the Windsor-Detroit Bridge.
Windsor-Detroit Bridge, you know, we're going to have to pay for it, $1 billion project. No guarantee, by the way, that it's going to be built. I mean, everybody thinks it's going to be built. There's going to be litigation in courts that could tie this up for a long time. Again, not a whole lot of help coming from the White House, and this is something that, again, who's going to benefit from those $1 billion we spend? It's going to be American workers, not Canadians.
Let me read just one line. It's sort of a thesis, sums it up. As I said, you don't mince words in this. Here it is. Although relations have been civil, they have rarely been productive, whether on trade, the environment, or Canada's shared contribution in places such as Afghanistan. Time and again, the United States has jilted its northern neighbor. And I mean, when we talk about this relationship on this side of the border a lot, often we'll blame our own team. But in this case, you guys are concluding that this is really Obama. This is the United States who has dropped the ball despite the best efforts of Canadian authorities.
It's the White House, it's Congress, it's Washington gridlock. And we should be under no illusions that things are going to change. You know, things might be better if there's a change in the incumbent in the White House, if Governor Romney wins the presidential election. We may see, you know, better relations.
Romney has said Keystone gets approved on day one.
I think, you know, historically Canadians have done much better with Republican presidents. That doesn't necessarily extend to George W. Bush, where I think partly because we had minority governments, it was hard to do business. But if you look at, you know, sort of the great era of Canada-U.S. relations, where we really built an enduring relationship, the Canada-U.S. Free Trade Agreement, the agreement that we celebrated 21st anniversary this year of on acid rain. Those were all built. Brian Mulroney obviously played a key hand. He was a prime minister who had the ear of American presidents, was respected by them. We don't get a whole lot of respect in this relationship. I mean, to be sure, at the personal level, relations are cordial, but at the end of the day, that cordiality has to translate into concrete dividends. And, you know, when you look at the important role Canada's played in Afghanistan, you know, we barely get a mention, and yet, you know, we were in there from the beginning.
Punching well above our weight.
Punching well above our weight. If you look at the casualties that we've taken, on a per capita basis, much higher than any other ally of the United States. And you know, the fact is we're not being, it's not just a matter of being appreciated, but at the end of the day, the relationship does stop in the Oval Office.
You're not naive. Derek Burney's not naive. There's an election going on down there.
Absolutely.
And certainly Republicans will take a look at this and go, aha, see what they're saying about you up north? I mean, and I'm sure you're getting a lot of reaction. A lot of people are reading this.
Well, there's huge reaction on both sides of the border. You know, it's going viral, you might say.
That's what you want if you write something.
On the internet. But, you know, there is a very serious message here. You know, Canadians for the past 25 years have counted on the United States for their economic prosperity, and we have benefited from that relationship. as we look to the future, I think it's very important for Canadians to realize that we can no longer count on the United States. And it's not just the Obama White House. I mean, the U.S. economy is not growing. Every economic indicator suggests that it's not going to be growing much in the future. And so we have to start seriously thinking about our alternatives. And this article is really intended to be a wake-up call, not just to Americans. It was published on the Foreign Affairs website. But it's also a wake-up call to Canadians that we need to really sort of fundamentally rethink our relations with our most important trading partner.
Well, I look forward to chatting more about that task another time. Fen Hampson, thanks so much for coming in.
My pleasure, David.